we are going over my new song, Jiragoshi. It's out now on all platforms and it is a very nice, fabulous song. And I want to show you guys what's up. To be honest, this song is a banger. I'm going to break down how I made the intro, breakdown, build up, the drop, and everything in between. Don't forget to hit the bell if you want to get the drip noties. And let's get started. We'll dive straight into the song. Okay, first we're going to do intro, breakdown, build up, then the drop. Then I'll show the second drop. Then we'll get into all the bussing and the mastering and the mixing and how I let's get started. First thing we're going to go over is like all the melodic elements right here. And first thing that you got to understand scale. So the scale that we picked here is the D Hirajoshi scale. See this? Hirajoshi. So I decided to pick like a cool random scale, but this is like a Japanese scale. I chose like a Japanese scale this time to do something cool and different. With the scale, there's not like a lot of notes. You see here, a lot of them are grayed out. Only a couple are highlighted, but I'm just using these notes. It's still in D, so this is my root note. That's cool. And yeah, so that's how I wrote. Keep in mind, this is auto filtered. Do this auto filter right here, bringing up the frequencies. Without it, it's like this. Usually, I'll start a sound out like this, but then I'll add an auto filter so we can bring it in. This is layered. This one. On this one, I didn't use the auto filter till the second drop. We're letting these high frequencies play out. Well, these melodies are all Omnisphere. I use Omnisphere a lot. It's amazing. It is expensive, $500, but unlimited sounds. I still haven't. I've been using this for like 5-6 years, I think, and I've only used like 25%. The beast. This one is the plastic Stratocaster Kato harp. Beautiful. And then the second one is Kodo Space Piano. Okay, so then while we have this melody playing, I made this pattern. Okay. So if you see, we kind of have it spaced out, the octave, right? So the first one's D1 all the way at the bottom. We have these 2s, we have these 3s, and we even have these 4s in 4 octave ranges. And the pattern we have is boom, boom, so like low, high, boom, boom, and then a little motif here. And I'm kind of going down the scale with the notes, as you see, going down, staying in the highlighted sections. And that's the melody that I have going. I have this voice adding harmony. The slumbering shaku, naturally. Playing an F, and then going down to a D. We go to the third, and then we go down to the ohm, the root. That's my thinking there. Cool, so while this melody is playing, that's what it sounds like. We need to add some sub. We'll bring the sub in. Yeah. That's what the sub's doing. Going root note, down, A sharp. So if you see here, look at how many notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're back to the root already. There's only 5 notes. This is the root 1. Then we have the 5th. We go 1, 5, back to 1. Then 2, 3, back to 1. That's the sub. So then we basically have the sub do this. Have the re-space this. Do the same exact thing as the sub. The sub is just a serum sine wave that's being boosted and low passed. I have the sub in my previous videos, and then this is just a re-space. Avant samples the Neonix pack. Very nice res. Filter EQ8, really setting the tone, removing a lot of frequencies, the highs. So that res with the sub is giving all the low end. Sub is in the low group, so the sub is all the low frequencies, and the res, as you see, we're cutting the lows, then cutting the lows again right here. Still a little boomy right here, so we just try to maintain this as best as possible from the 100 to 300. That's going to fill up the rest of the frequency spectrum at the beginning. Now, while that's all playing, I have a Teriyaki Boy sample that I chopped up. This is basically is acapella from the Tokyo Drift. Jumped up a little acapella just to add some rhythm and movement. And then I start to like use it as a build here. Q8 is causing this effect, as well as pitching it. -25 Complex Pro using Formants. Pitching it in a cool way. I barely hear it. Hear it more here. Alright, cool. So I have a reverb one too. Just adding some space. So, as you hear the drums, the clap starts to come in, add more energy. Cycle clap. A little break right here. These breaks are important. The vocal has its own little time to shine right here, and this just creates dynamics in the mix. So the saying go go, and then the melody is like going down and resolving back to the home. It sounds clean. Here we have some brass start to come in. More drums. So that was the intro. Now we can move on to the breakdown and the build. So as you hear, this is where we start to basically build it up, break everything down, and the build-up starts to progress even more at bar 25. These first 8 bars, then these next 8 bars. That's going to be the full break and build. 16 bars, and then the pre-drop, the last bar, right before 33. I usually have my drops on 33 or 17, just depending on what I'm feeling in the song. We have sweeps and stuff in this section. It's a lot. Brass also lives in this section. Remember, we're in D, so I'm just getting D brass. Just clean brass. No post-processing. We get a war horn. This is going to be pitched to the correct pitch -10. Go down. We have like effects by samples. Cool big hits. This is sweeps going before the Cool. As you see, there's 2 ivory risers. Sweeps are from the Disturbia sample pack, the Disturbia horror sample pack. Fun time, very nice, insane. You have a little bit of effect, right? You have these bullets. Alright, cool. So those bullets are going to come later. This is the pre-drop here. This pre-drop is actually me. And pitch -6.
Jiragoshi.
Oh yeah, I'll turn off the effects so you can hear me.
Jiragoshi.
That's me. So
Jiragoshi.
I just compress it.
Jiragoshi.
I take out
Jiragoshi.
with the gate, make it loud,
Jiragoshi.
and compress it heavily with the reverb.
Jiragoshi.
It's a convolution reverb with the hybrid on soft hall, 13%, then little alter boy in parallel. So we have a dry signal, and then we're mixing in a wet signal. Very low pitched wet signal of little alter boy, -6 performance. That's really cool. Both of them together sound like
Jiragoshi. Jiragoshi.
Then we add a delay.
Jiragoshi.
Really adding this cool, like, metallic effect.
Jiragoshi.
EQ it.
Jiragoshi.
Call it a day, if you know what I say.
Jiragoshi.
Oh yeah, of course. pitch it down because I don't like my regular voice. I pitch it down -6, man. This is how I made like the breaks and the fills. So this is right before the drop and just adds a lot of energy during the pre-drop vocal. I usually add toms right before prominent sections. And it adds nice coolness. So almond break and tom. These are off. Right? When we get to the drop, we have simple rides on top. We're holding it down to the high ends. A little bit of reverb on the second one to add some space. Wide space, I should say. As soon as the drop hits, we have like a little clap impact. Then a riser that goes up. We have this alarm that goes off. There's little fills. And then basically this is all me. So after I said Jiragoshi, I also say all this other random stuff. I say paper. Got mine. Bitch, I got mine. Paper. I'm bragging about money for some reason. Now I'm telling you to pull up. Naturally and cool. As you see, there's a lot of different vocals filling up space and really just keeping the energy moving. The vocals make a big difference. And then while the drop's playing, we have a melody in the background. This is creating cohesion from the intro to the drop. So we can still have a melody play without this. Very empty almost. We got the D, root, and then we have the E, which is the second. It's going, we're like moving up octaves pretty dramatically from D1 all the way up to 4. Just big octave shifts make cool differences, and then we even change it up and do very close. When you only are using this one semitone relationship and not skipping a whole tone, like a half tone, this is a darker feeling. So I utilize that here and just make a new melody. The melody will just do different things. And I was listening to the whole song, like if it was in this section, I was like, oh, I don't like it here, so I'll just take it out and then keep it in these sections, and I'll just listen and take it out. Sections I don't like. And then in other sections, I'll move them down octaves. Create variation, the melody, in later phrases. There's some string steps here. Just transitioning in a second. A little twist there. Alright, awesome. Now we can get into basses. There's a lot of basses, and one of the main things is sussy. That comes on later phrase. And then we have this riff section holding all the basses. I'm going to play this with drums as well as lows. This is the basses stuff. Everything else, like the effects and sweeps and vocals and melody, is doing a lot. Because if you listen to this, it sounds very empty. That in mind. Now, when I make these basses, the first thing I'm thinking about is, okay, call response. I need a call, so as soon as the drop starts, and this is the first downbeat, I have a growl, which is this. This is the Dripment Growl Low right here. This is in the Patreon. You guys need this. Go check out the Patreon. And this will go straight into this bass. Like that's a rhythm. Then I start to layer it. This one's labeled mono because this one's in the middle. I have to make sure there's a middle signal because this one was too wide. I can't let it only be wide. We need both. It's very wide. Not too much mono. And then we add the mono signal to make it full in the stereo image. That pairs with the growl. Now, that's not enough rhythm and movement for me, so we add a chug on the offbeat, which sounds like this. This is on the downbeat. So this is playing like an eighth note on downbeat, actually. Adding more rhythm and like kind of more bounce to this. This chug is the Dripment bass chord croak. This is also on the Patreon. Very simple patch. We also have cool little samples. So like this Murte sample is like a little zap. Little bass zap. So sick. Things like this. I'll just have cool little accent basses, right? Like fill in little sections after I make those main patches that you saw there. Cool. So this is the first phrase. This is like a phrase. So when the B fret comes, we just restart the growl. And then we have bass 2. The bass 2 is basically the same as the other bass 1, right? But bass 2 is just doing a different LFO shape. So I'll change these shapes so that I can add variation in the different phrases. This one's going fast. The other one going slower. These are the Dripment bass trap prosecutes from the prosecute video, also on the Patreon. Watch the prosecute video, of course. This is the LFO on the first one. You see different rhythms, different movements. This one's going faster in the later phrase in B. Now keep in mind the sub, while it's playing, it's not going at a consistent, like sustained level. It's kind of chopped off at the end so that it adds more rhythm and bounce. In this second phrase, we also have this choppy. This one is actually on the offbeat this time. This is adding different rhythm and different bounce. Other phrase on the offbeat. Then you hear like I cut out space at the end of the phrase. It's always like a bar. All right, this is actually 0.2 bars. So just a small little section. I have a little vocal, like an effect and a vocal before the next phrase. And then we have this growl started once again, same pattern. And then the sword. Then I add a whole new sound, which is the sustain. This is the OG Dripment sustain bass, I think from the first Marauda video, also on the Patreon. This is a very good sound right here. Well, so while that sustain's playing, you of course hear some basses that are going down. And then we're kind of like chopping up basses, right? So we have basses like chopped up. Like, we also have a new bass, like this chopper. You see I automate the on and off. Turn it like off and on. So I do that a lot just to make sure that things turn on and turn off when I want them to. So just automate that real quick. Easy. And basically we're using the same basses, just in different rhythms in this section, and introducing a new bass, which is the chopper and the sustain bass. So you see, the sustain lasted for about 2 phrases there, and we go to 49. Then we start like a whole new section, start introducing new basses. So this one is just doing the same technique as earlier, right? Making a new LFO. So this one has 4 of them now. It's an even faster, crazier shape. So the more we progress through the drop, the more the basses just get crazier. Now we start holding it down the whole time. See, there's a similar pattern, right? So I didn't want to like do a completely different thing over here. I wanted there to be like a theme, and usually you can do phrasing like A, B, A, C, make things easy. Or once you start get really good, you can start making your own phrasing that makes sense. You just want to make a pattern that's cool and cohesive so that everything makes sense. And that's why the sustain comes back. This phrase. You see I pitch the sustain with the shifter, by the way. Make it go up and pitch. After this sustain starts playing, the phrase keeps going. This fast bass and this chopper are just all crazy. It basically cuts to this little section. Little scream right before the drop ends. Little impacts also bring us to the end of the drop. And then I actually use this as a transition element, like go back into the melody so it doesn't sound too abrupt. I go back to like the intro elements. We use this melody. We start to slowly, this is the breakdown, slowly build up again. Now, I'm going to show you how to get into the second drop. We have some different basses. We're almost done. If you guys have made it this far, thank you so much. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Let's go ahead and get down. We got a couple more things to go over, and the buses and the mastering is really important at the end. Stay tuned for that. All right, so let's check out the second drop. It's a little bit different during the pre-drop vocal, and we add a lot of new basses too.
4, 3,
The vocal right there.
2, 1.
Right there. Jesus. Okay. All right. So lots of new basses here. As soon as the drop starts, it goes like a vocal right before the next new bass, which is the Cess of Death. This is the Dripment bass slicer. Also on the Patreon, you know, in previous videos, Dripment bass slicer. Very nice, fun time. We have this slicer just holding it down. The alarm. See, I'm automating the rate. We add variation between these phrases because this is on the fast one. 1/4 triplet. And this one over here is slower. That half. And of course, remember, these are the transition sections. Little vocals right before the section, and then we add new stuff. So, full effects like this, and sword as well are going to make big differences. This teriyaki thing in the back, too, also like a little chant I use at the drop, which is cool. All right, so let's go back down to the basses. Okay, so a lot of new sustain, right? We got this sussy. I love that sussy. Okay, so this sussy is Dripment Yoi sus. I've made videos showing how to make the Yoi susses. It's the Versa videos. This is what it looks like. Very nice. See, have it goes. It goes like first. This drive is what's changing the tone. Down sample on the distortion. When you move this drive knob, a lot of different tones. So right now we have it on 41%. The auto pan makes it go crazy also. This auto pan turns on at 124 a lot and just makes it all wiggly. If you see here, we also automate that downsample drive I was just talking about. So we have different tones and different sections for the Yoi with different and adding variation. So the old basses from the first drum, sign. And go back to this sussy. Automatic drive. That. Whew. That sounded nice. All right, so let's check out these groups. We have a tape stop. There's a little tape stop going on right here, not doing anything. The effects and sweeps, nothing. Cymbals and highs. Our cymbals and highs have a nice cut. Tie pass right here. The mids. So the mids are getting loud with this glue compressor. So before, after. You don't hear much of a difference in this section because it's really affecting the beginning section. So off. On. That's where this compressor is coming into play, really making the soft sounds louder. We're also EQing the mids here, the lows, the drums. Drums, by the way, in this clock, this is a Muerte kick right here, multi-band and a glue, making it fat. And then we have these snares, the snare layer. Agony, regular snare 5, Morte, Blep, Agony, tearout, pan snare 1. They're being compressed together with the glue compressor. Those are the drums. Okay, cool. So the master stems. All these groups are being sent to this master stems, which are the buses. Now, the sidechain group is right here. And then we also have mute automation. So I'm automating this mute. So basically, when the drop starts, we mute everything except the vocals, so that's what makes it sound really clean. You can hear paper so clean without it. You can't even hear it, so this is a big difference. I do a lot of mute automation through this. That's how we're getting those super clean fills between transitions. Using Duck Buddy for the sidechain here. In the mids, lows, highs, we have nothing. The lows are turned down -4 decibels. Just to make sure that we're not going too crazy on the sub test. The lows are usually a lot louder, so we got to turn those down a little. I'm usually looking at making sure it's not hitting the top. Good. The Vox samples, nothing on there. It looks like there's a minimal compression on the ducking group. We do have a glue compressor, which is making it louder. This is holding all the signals as well, except the drums. So ducking holds everything except the drums and the vocals. So I'm compressing everything except the vocals and the drums. Very important. Now we're sending all these signals to the master. And the master has a multi-band compressor. This is called more high end. Check out these settings. This is just adding more high end, like it says. And we're making it, see what we're pulling. -3.5 low. And a good wide stereo of it. So we're metering everything, checking everything. It's nice and loud, sounding wide, clean. Then we clip it, JST clip at the end at 0 times oversampling. Jiragoshi. I'm so glad you guys get to see how I made this song in action. It's out now on everything, and I'm so happy that you guys can actually listen to it because it's a banger. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Peace out. Stay fresh.